Hey there, guys. This video is going to be a bit different. Essentially, I wanted to make a video, now that the changes have come in PvZ Heroes, about how to do budget plant decks in the new meta. Because spoilers, I do think the new meta is brutally punishing to budget plant players. I think when a lot of people say that the plants are garbage, usually they are massively overreacting. In fact, before this patch, I would say if anything, the plants were much stronger than the zombies. But right now, the dynamic is completely flipped. And while it is true you can still have a good shot at winning while playing plants, basically every deck that still remains doing well is an extremely expensive one. It's mostly been OTK decks that rely on combos with legendaries and things like that, and control decks, which usually require legendaries for finishes. The vast majority of stuff that the plants had that got nuked was mostly just their basic tempo cards, which are usually the less rare but more effective for bread and butter situations kind of cards. Things like your Black Eyed Peas and such. Those are the main things that got screwed this update. Even Plantain, indirectly. I've always thought Plantain was one of the best budget cards in the game, but now you can't play Spikeweed on 2 into Plantain on 3. That massively hurts budget players. So long story short, I've been working on a quote-unquote budget Citron deck. It does contain a lot of event cards, but if you exclude those, it is pretty cheap, all things considered. It does also contain a couple legendaries, but those are just the legendaries I just so happen to have on my free-to-play account, and so they aren't necessarily required for the deck. Although Brainana is certainly very nice to have in here. Either way, the plan initially was that I was just going to make a video explaining the deck, and I probably still will do that. But here's the problem with that. I dreaded that I would have to record gameplay in the back. And you might be thinking, well, why on earth would you dread that? Don't you love playing PvZ Heroes? I mean, you're trying to get to Ultimate League on a free-to-play account again after you already did it recently, and you're choosing to do it on the side that you think is much more difficult for budget players right now, the plants, when I think the zombies have much better options, especially with Quarterly Bonus, the new completely reworked card, being so OP only as a common card. Well, the main reason I dreaded it wasn't anything to do with actually playing the game itself. It was more to do with the curse. You see, I know, when you first hear this, you're all going to think it's cope. But what could I say? Anyone who knows me knows this is true. I am cursed. If I ever manage to do something impressive or anything I'm proud of or start doing well at anything, it will always be when no one's looking. And the second someone comes over to watch me, or the second the cameras come on, everything goes wrong. It doesn't matter if it's all up to chance. The chances will simply completely tip away from my favor the second that anyone is watching. And so when I went on a winning streak with this deck, I was really happy, but I was paranoid to hit record because as much of a superstition as it might be, I just have too much experience with something is going really, really well. Let's hit record. Everything falls apart. I'm not going to lie, I kind of made this deck like a couple weeks ago, and I kept holding it back and not wanting to make a video on it because I thought, I mean, it's doing really well, but I should probably make sure it's absolutely as perfect as possible, given the collection I have so far at least, before I actually show it off, because, you know, everything's going to go wrong as soon as you hit record. You've got to be prepared for that, and I really think this is about as prepared as I could have been, and still, everything, and I mean everything, went wrong. Now, that being said, I think I'm still going to make that video, especially because for as absolutely blood-boilingly frustrating as these games have been, at the end of the day, my win rate is still positive, even if I feel like it should be higher. I wasn't quite as diligent to count all of my games, but at least by the amount that I counted, going from Diamond League to Taco, I had about a 60% win rate, give or take. And now that I've reached Taco League, I'm counting every game I play with this deck and not missing any, and so far I'm 12-8. Yeah, it's a bit sad. I feel like it could be better, but I suppose technically that's still a 60% win rate, so yeah, we're kind of staying strong there. And to be honest, that might be the best you're getting for a plant budget deck in the current meta. So yeah, that being said, usually I don't like to do frivolous little extra things like this because I know that I always put more on my plate than I'm actually capable of doing, and I probably shouldn't waste this effort doing little side things like this. But honestly, I just wanted to make a video before I really talk about this deck, showing you the pain I have been through trying to get games with this deck that are actually watchable. Because the curse struck, and it struck hard with no mercy. And at this point, considering a good like 90% of the footage I'd have to sift through would just be like so suffering. Especially because the games I win usually are over in a few turns, whereas the games I was losing were going on forever. At this rate, I would have to throw out so much footage to ignore all the fails that it just makes more sense to put them in their own separate little montage. Oh, and one last thing before I start the montage. To be honest, I would really have preferred to sit here and slowly explain to you every single aspect of garbage look I got in this montage. But not only would that make this video take forever, but on top of that, honestly, I feel like it would completely ruin the pace. But I still wanted to try and get across what was so infuriating about this game instead of showing you a bunch of random clips that sometimes the chaos is a little bit too difficult to follow why I'm even mad about it. So I am going to put detailed text explanations of basically the important decisions you're seeing in these clips and why the RNG is so bad in them, even in situations where it isn't immediately obvious why the specific thing they conjured here kills my entire game. And heads up, they're going to go by fast, so pause if you want to read them. You're going to see some absolute nonsense, so if you don't read them, I don't know how coherent this montage is going to be. But with that said, I'll let it play now to one of my own tracks, my Astral Projection remix. Ooh! Am I in the clear? I think I should be good. I think that top... There's an extremely high chance that Greystone is Zombot, and if it's Zombot, then there's literally nothing I can I am cursed. I literally went 6-1 before I started recording, and now it's this. It's like literally like this is our top end. We keep drawing these cards constantly, non-stop. Like literally 4 cards in our 40-card deck, and I say that 3 cards. We never even get Brain Nana. We've seen it once so far, and that's the only actually really good card there in just about every situation. Oh, hello, Brain Nana. Oh, hello there! In hand makes me a lot more confident here. I say, again, I'm just pointing out, 1/10 of the deck is this stuff, and we keep getting it. 1/10. We can't get rid of Gravebuster because, and we get the worst starting power. You actually can't make this up. You can't make this up.
A good starting hand. I didn't realise those existed. You see, this is the thing. We get the clips garbage hands against, like, the actual people I want to show games of, like, against the Ultimate League players, and then, like, we get, like, Blue Eye Sans rank 16 over here, and it's like, okay, here's the God Hand. It's like, I don't need the God Hand this game. At least, maybe I'm being a bit presumptuous, but, like, you know, I don't think I need the God Hand this game. Okay, they can see it. Yep. You see? I don't need a good starting hand in a game where they're just going to concede as soon as they see forget-me-nots. I'm not even complaining about them doing that, because, like, I understand. But, like, I don't know what else to say, man. Like, I know it sounds like ridiculous cope, but, I mean, literally every time I want to show something that's doing really, really well, I turn on the camera and immediately it crashes and burns. Like, again, 6 and 1, and then I turn on the camera, and now it's 1 and 5 since I started recording. Oh my god.